Right, this morning, this is my podcast, and this is my first time of talking live. So, this is a live podcast I'm doing today. I have spoken to many people on few things, and this is just about my life and an example that would help many people to live a rightful life, especially being a Christian and brought up in a Christian home and losing your mother at a very tender age and living in Nigeria. As you know, that Africans have different cultures when it comes to things like, say, somebody lose their mom, or some people are so poor that they will send their children to go and live with their aunties, or send them to be like a house help so they can fetch money to feed the rest of the family. But unfortunately, that was not my own. That was not what happened to me. My mother died when I was 15, going to be 16. So that year I was going to be 16, but I was going to be 16 in August, and my mother died in March. So obviously, life wasn't too good because the family that we came from, my aunties, my uncles, my uncle and my auntie, because my mother was the last born. So my uncle and my auntie, it was only just four of them. One died a long time ago, and then my uncle and my auntie, which happened to be those that were alive when my mother died, we were thinking that they were going to look after us, but unfortunately, they didn't have time for us. But the bottom line is, you wouldn't believe it, that they were very close to my mother, because my mother was the breadwinner of my family. Not to say that my daddy didn't do that is not responsible. My dad was very responsible, but as African women, when they're very hardworking, they have more money than their husband. So this is what happened in the family. But to be honest, my family, I'm talking about my mother, my father, and the whole lot of us, we were very close. And my mother and my father were a very good example, a very good husband and wife, that you cannot even know what is going on between both of them. So they brought us up in a lovely home. But unfortunately, when the breadwinner died, and the dad, that happens to be the one that stands beside him, couldn't stand the pressure anymore. And I don't know whether I should say it's unfortunate or fortunate. My mother had 8 children. She had 8 for the same mom, for the same dad. So the first 4 sets, which happens to be me with my 2 brothers and younger brother, were born in England. And then they went back in the year 1969, and they had another 4 sets. So, and you can imagine the gap between me and my younger ones. So when my mother died, I was 15 that year, but I'll be 16 in almost 6 months' time, and life was unbearable. Living with families and them treating you in a very bad way, and some of them lying. You are so innocent at that age, you don't even know anything. Your life is just to survive. All you know is that you miss your mom, you miss your brothers and sisters, because you have to live separately. But it was unfortunate that happened. So as I was there growing up, I went to Methodist Girls High School in Lagos. As I was there growing up, and I then had a boyfriend who happened to be the father of my children. So when I finished my WAEC, which we call West African Examination Council, when I finished that, there was no one to look after me really. I was just living in the family house after my family that I was living with, my cousin and auntie, couldn't look after me as much as they thought. So they had to send me back to the family house. So I was living there with my big brother, the bigger brother, and another brother, which is my immediate brother. And then the rest of my younger ones were living with my uncles and aunties. Like I said earlier, my father couldn't cope. It was too much for him. You can imagine a man with 8 children and 1 wife, and he was solely relying on the wife to look after the children. So he doesn't know how to do it. And like we know, all African men as we, many of them, they don't give them that training to be able to take up some responsibilities, like looking after the children, being there for them. We will only know him as somebody that comes in, bring money in, play with us whenever he likes, and then he goes to bed. So my daddy was a very nice man, despite what I've just said. He was a very nice man. He will give you good advice, but he doesn't have that capability to look after all of us, because it was too much for him, and many things that my mother would have done without telling him. So all those things affected him badly, that he was completely sick for a very long time. So, and this is how I started my journey, and then my boyfriend then became my husband. So the reason why I'm doing this is to let people know that whenever you want to marry any man, regardless of whether they are westernized person, whether it's in European, which we call Caucasian, whether they're like Asians, whether they're Africans, I believe the best thing is to sought the face of the Lord, to find out, this person I am married to, is it the right person, or is there a, like, you can go to the church, you can pray, you can fast. Some people have some prophet, they believe in prophet. Some people have some imam. Some people have, we have different cultures. So it's a good thing for us to find out the partner that will be living with us for the rest of our life or our lives, because it can be very dangerous. And some people are quite lucky that they may not ask, they take a leap of faith, and it works for them. My own case is completely different. So I want to talk about my journey marrying into a witchcraft family, and being prayerful really helped me to where I am today. So this man, who happened to be my childhood sweetheart, was my husband of then, and we got together. This was when I was like 17, going to 18, something like that, and we're together, and we stayed in Nigeria for some time. We had a daughter, and when we got to, life wasn't too good anyway when we were together. Obviously, as you can tell, if a child doesn't have